Oh, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You are filled with so many characters and yet not enough. We walk into the movie theater excited for who's going to pop up on screen and walk out talking about all the people we hope to see in the next time. To keep it all straight across the universe, we've got a running list of hidden characters we hope to see soon in the MCU. But before we get started, make sure you click on that subscribe button to stay current on all of CBR's videos. If you don't, we may send Iron Man after you.
I'm the best.
Sentry. With the likes of Hulk, Thor, and Scarlet Witch already featuring as card-carrying members, Doctor Strange set to join the team, and Captain Marvel primed to become the most powerful hero in the MCU. There aren't many unused Avengers from the comic books who could wow audiences any more than the existing group. Sentry, however, may be the most notable exception. With that in mind, along with a friendly reminder that Sentry's backstory is as interesting as that of any unused comic book hero, it makes perfect sense that he would be Phase 4's flagship introduction into the MCU. Sentry is Robert Reynolds, a man who wiped the world's knowledge of his powerful alter ego from the minds of almost everyone in the world, such is the level of his telepathic power. He did this to save the world from the Void, which was the dark half of his personality, as forgetting it existed would prevent it from manifesting. This villainous side to the character would also provide a fitting follow-up from Thanos as a big bad in the MCU, as the Void is tremendously powerful and malevolent. Other than that, Sentry's essentially one of those Superman analogs that the MCU could really do with.
When they come, and they will, they'll come for you.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Red Hulk. The Red Hulk was a new, bright red version of the Hulk who was first seen by comic book readers in 2008. This was the same year the MCU was established, so you can't help thinking that Marvel had its future inclusion in the franchise in mind when he was introduced. That's clutching at straws, maybe, but the re-emergence of General Ross in the MCU leads us to believe the Red Hulk could very well be on the way. General Ross was, of course, revealed to actually be the Red Hulk in 2010, and for Marvel Studios to have brought him back for the MCU in Captain America Civil War after an 8-year absence from the shared universe, you have to assume that their plans for the character go beyond that brief return.
But I think we have a solution.
Phase 4 needs to go big in order to follow up what could be the biggest movie event of all time in Avengers Infinity War, and Red Hulk certainly fits that description. A live-action Hulk vs. Red Hulk fight would be absolutely incredible to see, and fans have been asking for this for years. So it could only be a matter of time before Marvel Studios takes notice. Namor. Namor is a character whose Phase 4 introduction isn't only inevitable, it's also long overdue. He's Marvel's oldest character, first appearing in 1939's Marvel Comics #1 when Marvel as a company was still known as Timely Comics, and he's been a mainstay on their colorful pages ever since. There are so many reasons why he's bound to join the MCU soon. He's been hinted at since Atlantis was highlighted on a S.H.I.E.L.D. map in Iron Man 2. Actors have actually started campaigning to play Namor in the MCU, which would suggest they've heard something more concrete than the recent rumors of an in-development Submariner project. He could be introduced as a new member of the Avengers, or even as a member of the secret societies as the Illuminati or the Cabal, at least one of which is expected to make itself known in the MCU following the Infinity War event. He could even pop up in the upcoming Inhuman series. In a nutshell, however, Namor is simply too iconic to leave out for much longer. Mephisto. The supernatural and mystical side of the MCU is well and truly underway. Not only has Doctor Strange introduced magic to the franchise, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has introduced ghosts and the powerful Ghost Rider to it, which seems to confirm that a certain devil-esque villain also exists in that same universe. The villain in question is, of course, Mephisto, the character who gave the Ghost Rider his powers in exchange for his soul. But he's undoubtedly too big for the television side of the MCU, in spite of the fact that there were rumors of him battling Daredevil and the Defenders on Netflix. You have to imagine that Phase 4 will focus on more supernatural villains after the cosmic Thanos is defeated in Phase 3. That's where Mephisto comes in. Mephisto did, in fact, sit by Thanos' side in the Infinity Gauntlet comic book arc, with treacherous intentions, of course, but we can't see that happening in the movies. With Doctor Strange sequels on the way in Phase 4 and beyond, that's where we envision Mephisto emerging. Quizar. Marvel Studios is constantly introducing characters who bridge the gap between the more grounded settings of movies like Iron Man and the otherworldly settings seen in the likes of Doctor Strange. Quizar would help to continue that trend, and there are a number of reasons why he feels like a shoo-in for introduction in Phase 4. Wendell Vaughn was a graduate of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy who was deemed unfit for field work as he lacked a killer instinct. He later becomes the cosmic hero Quizar when he proved capable of wielding the powerful quantum bands that S.H.I.E.L.D. were studying after AIM attacked the facility he was working in. His lack of killer instinct and ability to just go with their flow was what made him suitable to wear them. Vaughn later on went on to head Project Pegasus, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secret operation for studying alternate forms of energy. When you factor in that Quizar is also a member of the Avengers in the comic books, it all points towards him appearing very soon in live action. Taskmaster. This is undoubtedly the most speculative entry on this list, but he's such a unique and interesting character that Marvel Studios surely can't ignore him for much longer. Anthony Tony Masters is a man with photographic reflexes. He can instantly learn and copy the movements and fighting styles of anyone he sees in action. He's an enemy of the Avengers in the comic books, which does give him links to existing MCU characters. Our belief in his inevitable introduction to the MCU is based purely and simply on how great a character he is. Can you imagine a live-action Taskmaster watching the heroes of the MCU in action, then facing them all at once, busting out their best moves? Hawkeye's perfect aim, Black Widow's grace, Captain America's skill with a shield, Black Panther's honed athletic ability, and so forth. Just imagine all those traits in one man. The Avengers would have their hands full, and it would look incredible on the big screen. Now that we know the character's rights have been reverted to Marvel, the MCU would be wise to give this guy a go. He could be an ideal fit for their Netflix series, come to think of it. Moondragon. When you hear the name Moondragon, a lot of images probably pop into your head. Is the moon riding a dragon, or is the dragon on the moon? The answer is neither. She's a massively powerful telepath. She's a low-level telekinetic, a master martial artist, a skilled geneticist and engineer, an accomplished starship pilot. Born in LA as Heather Douglas, Moondragon was orphaned as a child when Thanos killed her parents. Her father's soul would later be revealed to have been bound into a new body, becoming Drax. She was taken in by Thanos' father, Mentor, and taken to his home planet of Titan. She was raised by the monks of Shao-Lom and taught the awesome abilities she now possesses. She has many links to existing MCU characters that suggest her arrival is inevitable. Links of the aforementioned Thanos and Drax are obvious, but she's also been a member of both the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a particularly memorable comic book story in which she telepathically enslaved Thor to be her lover. She would add to the growing female contingent in the franchise. In general, she's too interesting a character for Marvel Studios to keep overlooking. Wonder Man. Wonder Man first joined the Avengers in the comic books in the 1980s. He was a standard energy-empowered, super strong, super fast, super durable flying hero. His introduction to the MCU is highly likely. Not only will he fill the glaring void in the Avengers lineup, he was also subtly hinted at in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. During the filming of some Earth-based scenes for the Guardians sequel, posters were seen for in-world MCU movies starring Simon Williams, the actor who would become Wonder Man, confirming his existence in that world. One of those movies saw Williams starring as Tony Stark, which would no doubt create a fun moment between him and Robert Downey Jr.'s character. Nathan Fillion has been linked to the role, given that Wonder Man has connections to the likes of S.H.I.E.L.D., Vision, Ultron, and Scarlet Witch in the comics, and that he's been a member of both the Avengers and Guardians. You can expect him to appear in some capacity in the very near future. Clea. Now that Doctor Strange has been introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we are expecting a flurry of supporting characters to cross over into the MCU. After all, Doctor Strange has over 40 years of comic book backstories to pull from. We want to see both friends and foes to join him in the comic years, the most inevitable of which is Clea. There are a couple of reasons for this, as Strange isn't the only existing MCU character to which Clea is connected. She also has connections to Dormammu. Clea was born the daughter of Prince Orini, who was the legitimate half-heir to the rule of the Dark Dimension, and Umar, sister of Dormammu himself. She observed Doctor Strange from the Dark Dimension and, impressed and enthralled by him, advised him against facing her all-powerful uncle. She soon became a prominent love interest for Earth's most powerful sorcerer, which we can see happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Not only will it create an intriguing dynamic given Dormammu's existence in the franchise, but it will also add an interesting love triangle arc to Strange's movies, given that Christine Palmer already exists in the franchise too. The Sorcerer Supreme can handle anything, right? Right?
So, where to?
Venom. Venom might not be the most spectacular addition to the MCU, given that we've already seen a very underwhelming live-action version of the character in Spider-Man 3. He's certainly a welcome add. The reason for that? Well, he's the most talked about, and that generally means that somebody, somewhere, has heard that Marvel Studios wants him in their franchise.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Venom is every bit as important to Spider-Man's legacy as any other character on this list is to any existing character in the MCU. He's essentially an evil, amplified version of the iconic web-slinger, an archetype Marvel Studios loves to use, and arguably his toughest opponent. Fans have wanted Marvel to rectify Sony's previous errors with the character since 2007, and it would seem as though that's going to happen in Phase 4 of the MCU. Some fans are expecting the Infinity War event to provide some opportunity to expose Spidey to the Venom symbiote in space, setting up the character's eventual introduction in a later movie. But the fact that he'll be making his presence felt soon, a Spider-Man without Venom just isn't Spider-Man, after all.
How's that sound, Tiger?
We've added so many characters to the MCU that Marvel may need to add a couple more phases to include everyone we want. Which of these characters do you think could get their own film? Did we forget to unlock any hidden characters? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for checking out the video, and before you go, don't forget to hit the like to show your love, and subscribe if you haven't already to catch even more entertaining videos from the CBR playlist.